What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Mario B coming at you guys with our draft analysis for the GDL, the Galar Defenders League, and I'm really excited to be presenting this to you guys today. So if you guys are hyped, make sure to smash that thumbs up button, and if you guys are new watching my channel for the first time and you guys are hyped to see the Happy Valley Hariyamas run in the GDL, definitely make sure to subscribe, guys. We have a lot of content going up on the channel right now. So for anyone who isn't familiar with the draft league format, how it basically works is it relates very much so to like fantasy football, where players will draft a team of 10 Pokemon and then go against other coaches that have drafted Pokemon as well in a 6v6 battle, which is actually super fun, super competitive, guys. So should be very interesting. It should be a very interesting season. But yeah, guys, I want to give a big shout out to Leo, aka 6 Foot Hacks, for inviting me to play this season. Want to shout out all the mods and then everyone who got the GFX done and everything. Just want to show appreciation to everyone in the league for putting in work to get this up. So yeah, guys, so the GDL, I'm very hyped. We have a lot of good coaches in this league, like 6 Foot Hacks. We got Livia, we got OG Albina, we got the Grandmaster D Ray, we got Diet Tai, we got Dr. Slay King, we got Mid Pokemaster. Am I forgetting? I'm probably forgetting. I'm forgetting a couple more coaches, and sorry if I am, guys, but a link for all of them should be down in the description below. If not, I'll definitely have that for you guys on the week 1 battle. But so like I said, guys, super hype for this draft analysis, and I'm gonna be breaking down the team that I drafted today, which should be a pretty fun team in hopes. You know, that's what I hope, at least for this season. It'll be a very fun team. So at number 7, I did have a couple of options left. Main thing to consider for this league is that Gmax is illegal, but our Gmax mons have to hold a Pokeball, so none of them can actually hold boosting items or like berry resist or anything like that. So it's just straight up no items, so you gotta rely really on the Pokemon itself. I know this, if you guys watched my past draft league, which was the IBL, shout out to the Ibble, yeah, that one we drafted Gmax Orbeetle and we didn't do so hot with it, so I definitely was considering grabbing a good Gmax. My theory behind it was I wanted something that didn't really require a necessary boosting item for it to do well. So a couple of things I was looking at was Gmax Gengar. That was one of the picks I was looking at, and then the next pick was actually the one that we ended up picking up, which I am very excited to show off, Gmax RILLABOOM. Yes sir, we got Ric Flair with the drip. Whoop. And yeah, guys, I'm really excited because Gmax RILLABOOM does get access to the ability Grassy Surge, which is actually going to go ahead and boost those grass type moves coming off of him. This one also has one of the strongest Gmax possible. It's coming off a base 180 attack, which is super ridiculous. It does have that mold breaker effect to its Gmax ability, so things like Sap Sipper get ignored, things like yeah, I think Sap Sipper is like one of the main ones, to be honest. But yeah, and then this thing gets a 1.3 boost to all of its grass type moves with an insane coverage move pool, like acrobatics. It gets acrobatics, it gets brick break, superpower, drain punch, and I think that's all the fighting coverage it gets. I have the list right here. It also gets things like drum beating, which is a cool tech move if you want to go ahead and lower down opponent's speed. It gets Darkest Lariat to hit those ghost types. It gets Earthquake, which you probably don't want to be using with the Grassy Surge, but luckily it does get high horsepower, so you can get that ground coverage. Get Max Quake, you can get Spadef boost up. This thing gets access to Fake Out as well. Might not be wanting to run it on our Gmax Mon, but definitely an option. It gives us our first knockoff user for the team, which is super helpful. I realized that, you know, knocking off an opponent's item is very big when playing singles, just because you can knock off some leftovers, no more residual you know, recovery. You can knock off a life orb, they're not doing as much damage. You knock off some choice specs, a choice band, you know, it could be really useful to help your team live those hits a little bit longer. This thing also gets access to Swords Dance, so it can definitely set up, get to +2, go ahead and Gmax and just put in the absolute work. It does get access to things like Taunt. It gets U-turn out too, just in case it wants to get out of those sticky situations. Powerful moves like Wood Hammer, which is base 120 and also still gets the 1.3 boost from that Grassy Surge. Is there any other moves I might be missing? yeah, I said Stomping Tantrum, I believe, but I think Horsepower would be better. But yeah, guys, G-Max RILLABOOM was actually our first pick. And with this draft, what I essentially did, I believe, is kind of balance it out, try to cover all of its weaknesses, all of my Mon's weaknesses covered by each other. So I kind of try to build a balanced team, but you know, I know it's not too favorable to this season's like meta, but we're definitely gonna try. So our next Mon is gonna cover its major flying weakness. You know, its flying weakness, it gives us a very powerful steel type, and it's going to be CORVIKNIGHT. So CORVIKNIGHT goes crazy. It's like SCARMERY times 2. This thing is an absolute beast. It gets access to things like bulk up, things like brave bird, things like power trip, things like body press as well. A bulk up body press set is very, very intimidating. Base 98 HP and base 105 defense, which makes this thing an absolute unit. Being at tier 1, we went ahead and drafted it. It does get access to the abilities Pressure, Unnerve, and Mirror Armor, which I feel like Pressure could be pretty useful, especially if we have like a roost set. You know, we can stay in on things, get rid of their PP on the moves. Things like Mirror Armor make us immune to things like Intimidate, like drops from, like defense drops from like G-Max moves, like Max Phantasm. Yeah, overall, I believe a really, really solid Mon for us. It gives us our first defogger as well, which is always good to have. You know, this thing can reliably, almost all the time, get rid of rocks. But yeah, this thing is a major threat and a super, super good defensive backbone to start the team off with. Sorry guys, I need to take that deep breath. But yeah, so RILLABOOM and CORVIKNIGHT are going to be the two starting pieces to our team. And with this next pick, I really, really wanted to pick up a strong fire type, because I did have in mind that I wanted like a very powerful breaker at this point, because right now I feel like G-Max RILLABOOM does a good job of being that offensive force for the team, but I definitely wanted something that I can just click buttons, not have to worry about anything. And it's actually an old friend that some of you guys might remember. It's actually going to be my boy Knuckles, aka the Darmanitan. So Darmanitan here is pretty self-explanatory. Darmanitan just comes in, clicks buttons, that's it. With the sheer force ability, it boosts up things like Flare Blitz. It's a great scarfer, it's a good band. In this season, it's a pretty good speed tier at base 95. You know, this meta is kind of slower, so it gives us our first like faster Mon than what we had, because RILLABOOM's at 85, Darmanitan's at 95, and then SCARMERY times 2 is at base 67, so that thing's a little bit slower. So Darmanitan gives us that speed, it gives us a great scarfer. The ability to just click Flare Blitz and basically 2-hit KO everything is very, very useful. It gets things like Earthquake, Superpower as well, and then Zen mode, it can also be a thing. You know, if we're feeling like throwing some heat on some week, we can definitely do that with my boy Knuckles here. So next pick, I know that I wanted a kind of like a bulky water type. Things like Dracovish scare me, so I, particularly myself, I always like drafting a water absorb Mon, typically just because of the whole Dracovish thing. So luckily I was still able to pick this up. It might have been a little bit early, but I saw that everyone else was drafting bulky water types, so I went ahead and grabbed my boy King Bomb, aka the JELLICENT. So I love JELLICENT personally. I've been playing a lot of doubles this season, and season 1 and season 2 I used a lot of JELLICENT with Trick Room and stuff like that. But what I love about JELLICENT the most is that they gave it Strength Sap this generation. So this thing has Strength Sap, this thing has Will-O-Wisp, this thing has an insane base HP at base 100 and base 105 SPDEF. Its defense is a little lackluster, but like I said, it does have those things like Strength Sap or Will-O-Wisp. You know, it gets Scald. I don't think it got access to any of the new moves, if I'm not mistaken. I'm double checking right now. It gets Nightshade, it gets Poltergeist actually. It's not a physical attacker though, but getting rid of items is always good. Like I said, gets Taunt, it gives Trick Room. Water Spout is not bad. I've never used it in singles, to be completely honest, but yeah, all JELLICENT is mostly here to do is be that physical wall that we need. Not physical, but you know, it could be a wall that we definitely can use. Good SPDEF, so can take those special hits if we needed to as well. So it's good. It's good backbone, and it's good pairing with my boy, I was gonna say SCARMERY again, my boy CORVIKNIGHT. Alright, put some respect on CORVIKNIGHT's name, Mario. Come on, stop being like that. So right now I'm realizing that my team is very slow, and a lot of mons have been picked up already. So a lot of fast mons have been picked up, like almost all the base 100s. I think at this point some of the only things that were available were like Flygon. What else is over base 100? Honestly, a lot of fast mons were drafted. That's all y'all need to know. So you know your boy had to grab sticky webs, and none better than Galvantula. I've actually never used Galvantula in any of my drafts ever, so this should be very, very exciting. It does get the compound eyes ability, making most of its, I believe it's yeah, so the user has all their moves accuracy multiplied by 1.3. So that's you know, we could just launch off thunders with that, because this thing does get thunder. So I think it gives us like a 91% chance to hit thunder, if I'm not mistaken. This thing also gets a nerve, so we don't have to worry about any resist berries coming off of things like energy ball that this thing has. This thing gets good coverage, kind of like you're typically running sticky webs, thunder, bug buzz, energy ball, but this thing definitely does the job. Can get up those toxic spikes, can get up those sticky webs. Sorry guys, talking is hard today, I don't know why, but this thing can get up the sticky webs for us, and then let Darmanitan come in, click buttons, let RILLABOOM shine a little bit more, because it does struggle solids beat those base 100 mons, but with sticky webs up we can definitely do that, and we can definitely put in the work, especially if we get up a Swords Dance. Will be like pretty powerful with this thing's coverage. It's crazy insane. But yeah, that was Toxic, the Galvantula. I forgot to mention that name. But next, I realized that I have a fire and a water. I'm trying to tie up my cores right now. So I realized I have this steel type right here. I need my fairy, I need my dragon still. Yeah, so next I actually picked up a fairy type, and it's gonna be my girl ALCREMIE, aka baby girl, the matcha colored. ALCREMIE, shout out to my girl, she loves matcha tea from Starbucks. So yeah, ALCREMIE, I'm very excited to actually use this, because I've never used ALCREMIE in Draft League, never in doubles, I've never used it in like Smogon either, so this thing should be very interesting. I know it's super bulky, like super bulky. It has base 65 HP with base 121 special defense, so this thing is nothing to play around with. Its HP stat is kind of low, I'm not gonna lie, but this thing can still probably take hits. This thing does get access to iron defense, it gets access to calm mind. Its two abilities, Sweet Veil and Aroma Veil, are okay, you know. One of them allows us to dodge, taunt, and that's pretty much it. And Encore, I guess, if that ever comes in handy. Sweet Veil cannot allow us to sleep, so that might be coming in handy too. But this does give us our first aromatherapy user, so we don't have to worry about being toxic or things like that. Like I said, it gets Calm Mind, it gets good coverage actually, it gets Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Drain Punch, Mystical Fire as well, which could be interesting for those steel types trying to switch in on us. It gets Psychic, Psyshock, Stored Power as well, so something like an Acid Armor, Calm Mind, Stored Power set could be killer, and people aren't gonna expect it. I know I watched I believe it was Kyle A use this in the was it the WPE, I believe, and used it very creatively, so we're just gonna be trying to match that energy this season. And yeah guys, that's actually ALCREMIE right there. So with the next pick, these next picks are kind of scrambled. I honestly drafted 3 mons and then dropped 3 mons before the week 1 started, and I actually picked up another 3, and this is one of them. And guys, you guys will recognize this guy from my last season of IBL, because he came back with us with his boy Knuckles. He had to come through. His name is Troy, and yes, MUDSDALE. Y'all know MUDSDALE. Y'all know what MUDSDALE does. MUDSDALE just comes in and eats hits for days. You cannot knock MUDSDALE out. This thing is a beast. With the abilities Own Tempo and Stamina, Stamina giving it that ability to just go ahead and get +1 defense every time it gets hit by a physical type move, which is very useful. Base 100 HP, base 125 attack, and base 100 defense. Yes, its speed is a little bit low, but the good thing about my team is that we have webs, and then we also have Trick Room with JELLICENT, so that could pay off dividends, definitely, especially with our slow mons like CORVIKNIGHT, like MUDSDALE, like the ALCREMIE, things that can put in a lot of work once they set up with that Trick Room up. So that's what I really like about this team so far. And MUDSDALE gives us a Trick Room option too if we need it. It also gives us our first blocker, which is really important. I almost went this whole draft without drafting any type of hazards. So MUDSDALE is definitely a reliable rocker that, you know, if we definitely need the rocks up that week, we can definitely get them up. And this thing gets okay coverage. You know, we might not be clicking Earthquake as much because we do have Grassy Surge, but luckily this thing does get high horsepower. It gets Body Press, it gets Close Combat, it gets Earthquake, Heavy Slam, it gets Iron Defense. I don't know why, you probably don't need it. It actually got Lash Out this with the move tutors, which is pretty interesting. Superpower gets Toxic, which could help wear down those walls. You know me, I love my rest, sleep, talk MUDSDALE, so don't be surprised if you guys see that a couple of the games this season. And next pick, I'm actually very excited for, because this is a new mon. This is a new mon with the Eye of Armor, which I don't think we have yet except for G-Max RILLABOOM. But this mon is a new mon that came out with the Eye of Armor pack, and I couldn't resist. I really couldn't resist. I had to draft my boy Thanos, aka the Slowbro Galar. Yes sir, so Slowbro is gonna be super interesting. This thing does get the new ability Quick Draw, which gives it a 30% chance, if I'm not mistaken, to move first. Yes, 30% chance. It also gets access to Own Tempo, which means I can't be intimidated, and then Regenerator. And if you guys don't know this thing's stats, it's actually base 95 HP, base 100 attack, and base 100 special attack with 95 defense. So this thing is still pretty bulky. Even base 70 SPDEF, which isn't bad. Like with the HP, it's not too bad, but Quick Draw is really the cool thing about it, you know, giving it that 30% chance to move first. If you add Quick Claw on it, I believe it turns into like a 43 or 50% chance. I don't know, I've been hearing a couple things, but it could be fun. Like, that's really why I drafted it, to be honest. It does get cool moves in Avalanche, Blizzard, Brick Break, Drain Punch, Earthquake. It gets Expanding Force, gets its signature move Shell Sidearm, which actually, how I believe it works is physical if more damaging. I believe whatever the stat is of the opponent's mon that is weaker, whether it's SPDEF or physical defense, it attacks it on that side, if I'm not mistaken. It gets access to Liquidation, which is a pretty strong water type move, since you might want to run this thing physical. It gets Poison Jab. This thing is Poison Psychic type, guys, as well, if you guys did not know. It gets Thunder Wave. It gets Trick Room as well, so it gives us our second Trick Room user. It gets Yawn, which is actually pretty good. You know, in singles, I think JB Westside actually showed that off really well with his Torkoal having Yawn, and just putting in the work against his opponents. They switch in, they take a Yawn, and then next turn they have to switch out or they have to take a powerful hit. So it could be really useful. This thing does get a super insane coverage, since I guess they kept the Gen 1 move coverages. But yeah, guys, super excited to use my boy Slowbro Galar. I love this picture right here. I love him. I'm in love with him. But yeah, guys, so right now I wanted a dark type. So right now in my head I had a couple ideas. I wanted to draft Azora kind of, but I didn't know if I wanted to waste a free pick or a tier 3 on it, because it did have a I think it has base 109 speed, which is a good speed tier for us, because I was trying to kind of patch up those speed tiers. But I actually ended up picking out something I believe fit the team really well, and that's gonna be my girl SNEASEL, aka Guapa. And SNEASEL is very interesting. So it gives us that dark type that we need. It gives us another knockoff user, which is great. I really love that. You know, its abilities are okay with Inner Focus, Keen Eye, and Pickpocket. Probably only wanting to use Inner Focus so that we're not affected by that Intimidate. But this thing is crazy insane with the Choice Band, right? And it did get access to the new move Triple Axle, which is actually more powerful than Ice Cold Crash and has the same accuracy. So you could definitely catch us running that this season for sure. It gets Fake Out, it gets things like Foul Play, gets Ice Shard and Priority, which is good because I think the only priority we have is Grassy Glide with RILLABOOM. I forgot about that right now. and quick draw Slowbro, so that priority is always good for like setup mons. It gets lash out, which is pretty cool actually. You know, we're not gonna want to combine that with inner focus, but it gets power up punch as well. It gets a poison jab, it gets sword stance, it gets shadow claw, X scissor as well, which is pretty good coverage. We don't really have to worry too much about this thing. Like much like Darmanitan, I feel like with SNEASEL, we're just gonna be clicking buttons. We're just gonna be clicking like triple axle, knockoff, low kick for anything that we need to. And yeah, I feel like SNEASEL is gonna put in a lot of work right now offensively for our squad, with everything else that we have. So next, like I said guys, I really wanted to patch up my speed tiers. This one, it's since I do have Galvantula at 108, I do have SNEASEL at 115, I have Darmanitan at 95. I wanted something that could give me an option if I needed it, you know, and it'll make more sense when you guys see this pick. Next pick is gonna be the HITMONLEE, aka Jet, coming to wrecking, like just fuck shit up this season, to be honest. It does get access to the ability Unburden, which is what I'm gonna be mostly running probably. This thing can pop off the Grassy Seed with RILLABOOM, which is a really good combo. It's kind of like a low priced Halucha almost. I don't even know, because Halucha is too good to compare, but this thing does have a base 120 physical attack, you know, so this thing can click things like high jump kick, close combat. It does get double speed, so at base 87 you don't really need any speed investment to outspeed everything in the meta once you get your Unburden boost. But it does get access to a lot of priority in Bullet Punch, Mach Punch. It gets Blaze Kick as well. It gets Earthquake, but we probably don't want to be clicking that with the Grassy Surge up. Gets High Jump Kick, gives us another knockoff user, which is great. Poison Jab, it gives us another form of removal in Rapid Spin. Gets Rock Slide to hit those flying types, and Stone Edge. It gets Sucker Punch, it gets Superpower, it gets Throat Chop. Those are probably all the recognizable moves, I think, are the ones worth mentioning. But yeah, Hitmonlee, really excited for it to come through and just start kicking some shit in the face. Next, we got my boy Turtonator, and it's gonna be my last pickup, aka Rhaegar. So shout out to OG Albina. I really liked the way he used it last season in the IBL, and I really wanted to pick it up as my dragon type here. I know I have dual typing with the fire types, and I seem to do that a lot, to be honest, but with Grassy Surge, I'm not really too worried about Earthquake spam against my team, because that of course will be weakened. So Turtonator here, base 135 defense. Keep that in mind, base 135 defense. It does have a base 60 HP and a base 91 special attack, which is kind of, you know, lackluster, I'm not gonna lie, but I really feel like Turtonator can come in this season and put in some work for the Happy Valley Hariyamas. It gives us another Rapid Spin user. His ability Shout Armor doesn't allow him to ever be hit by a critical hit, which is situational of course, but it can definitely put in work. This generation, it did also get access to Body Press. It gets Curse as well, Draco Meteor, Earthquake, which we probably won't be clicking, but Flamethrower, gets Flash Cannon as well, it gets Head Smash, it gets Heat Crash, which is actually pretty cool because this thing is pretty heavy, so Heat Crash can actually do some work. Heavy Slam as well, Iron Defense if for any reason we need a higher defense stat, and actually get Scorching Sands. That's actually pretty cool since this thing is special. Getting that Ground Scald is pretty cool. Stone Edge, Taunt, Sub, Will-O-Wisp, Burning Jealousy as well. Cool. This thing actually got some cool moves. This is my first time actually looking at its move pool as well. Gets that ability Shell Trap. Yeah, it's cool. I like that. Shell Trap is its signature move, I believe, and it says user must take physical damage before moving. So since this thing most likely is going to be going second most of the time, could be an interesting tech that we could run. But yeah guys, that's actually gonna go ahead and be the whole squad here. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you guys are hyped, like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure to smash that thumbs up button down below. And if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe guys. Should be a very interesting season. We're gonna be trying to take that chip. There's a lot of good coaches on the roster, so it should be an overall great season. But yeah guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of you guys' day to watch this kind of all over the place video, guys. Sorry, I was kind of unorganized for this one, but we'll definitely catch you guys on the next one. Our week 1 opponent is actually going to be Leo 6-foot hacks himself, so should be great. I actually got into Pokemon because of Leo, so being able to play him is pretty satisfying. So hopefully that goes all good, and I'll be back at you guys with that battle for sure. But guys, I will definitely see you guys on the next one. Peace.